Welcome back for another episode of Strive for 25. Joel Farrell here, and looking forward to sharing with you our guest today. Welcome back to another episode with Strive for 25. I have a guest that is near and dear to my heart because she works with me at my day job with Fairway Mortgage, Stephanie Gastler. And we've been working together for over 3 years now.
Right.
And needless to say, those of you lay people who don't know much about the mortgage industry, it's crazy, chaos. It's pretty much 24/7. We get phone calls and texts and emails at all hours of the day, and certain times we have to be on the phone on contract negotiations at all hours. But Stephanie, I wanted to have you on because of your side hustle.
Yeah.
A little bit of side hustle that you started. I want to hear a little bit about that. But can you tell our listeners a little bit of background about you and what you do and all that stuff?
Sure. So I work with Joel. I've been kind of managing his pipeline for about 3 years. And earlier this year, we decided to have my husband stay home with our kids, and we needed to generate a little bit of extra income. And so we started doing a resale on Etsy. Our shop is called Riches to Rags Resale, and we just buy vintage things and resell them.
Vintage things that you get where are you finding this stuff?
Estate sales, we're going to garage sales. If family members pass away, we're going through their old items. A lot of old kitchen stuff, tins, cookie jars are a big hit lately. So we've sold like 3 of those in the past 2 days, but it's anywhere and everywhere.
And you started that one again?
We technically opened up our shop on June 4th. We had our first sale on June 20th, and then it's just kind of skyrocketed from there.
Okay. And you were just telling me a milestone that you hit recently. What was that again? What was the milestone?
This month, we hit $2,000 already this month.
So 1 month.
Just in the month of October, from October 1st to today.
Okay. Very, very, very. So obviously it's a journey, right? You start
Totally.
literally ground zero.
Totally.
And you learn from mistakes and successes and
some big mistakes.
Some
big mistakes.
Okay. Well, what will be an example?
Shipping nightmares. We've had some things broken. So we've had to recoup the cost of shipping it. The item, obviously we lost profit on that. A couple of 1-star reviews because of the shipping issues, but we've really upped our game, double boxing, kind of getting crazy with it. Now we get a lot of reviews that say insane packaging. So.
Okay. So what other successes or learnings did you came along the way that you share?
And make sure you use a lot of description, so the item's exactly as described in the posting, so people can't come back on you if you answer quickly. There's another thing that Etsy offers. It's called Star Seller. So if you have a 4.8 rating or higher, you respond within an hour of any messages, and if you ship out on time, you get a Star Seller, which bumps you up. So I think that's why we were so successful in October so far, as we were a Star Seller for October, and we'll be for November too.
Okay.
And just to keep it in perspective, how much we did in October versus from June until October, we have 3,500 sales in total. So 2,000 of that is just in October.
Okay. So I literally don't know anything about this. Gonna be honest on that. So you go get something at a discount. So when you're searching for something, you have an idea of what you're looking for that could sell in the back end, which I'm sure is trial and error.
Yes, totally.
And probably research. So you find something, and then what happens?
We find it if we're at an estate sale, we're trying to be quick because there's a lot of people around. So you're trying to search, and we do a lot of online estate selling too. So we have a little bit more time to research, but bring the packages home. We have to stage it. We've got a staging area, maybe clean it up. And then each posting takes anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how long it takes us to research the item to get an appropriate price.
Okay, appropriate price, and then time to put everything together online and description. That's later, or when is that?
That's as soon as we get it home. We clean it up and post it. So we've got And then my mother-in-law, God bless her, she cleared out 2 rooms in her basement and we've been buying shelves and they're completely stocked. So she's our warehouse manager.
Okay.
We actually text her
On
when we
payroll.
get a sale and she goes and picks it from her warehouse.
Okay. Is she on the payroll? Or is that just, she's paying for rent?
We're paying her in love and grandbabies.
Okay. Fair enough. All the love and support you gotta have. Okay. So warehousing, display room, you said?
We have we closed off our dining room and that's our display area where we have a black backdrop and
Black backdrop.
tablecloth
Okay.
for a nice picture.
Do you have to have extra lights or is it good enough?
It's good enough.
Okay.
A big window in there.
Can you give me an example of a description that like is more than enough that you probably wouldn't have thought of 3 months ago? Like what would be an example of a description like that you had to like fine tune or tweak to be specific?
100%. In fact, we sold an item that we just re-upped it and added some description to it. But the original description was, I think it was sexist gift, very outdated.
Can you repeat that for me one more time?
It was gold-plated clothespins from the 1940s, and it said to give to the woman in your life who requires fancy things, and it was very offensive. And and so we put it back up, and we were a little more professional about it, and it sold. So just very descriptive.
So
Tags are important.
So Amber Onions,
Mhm.
her descriptions probably wouldn't fly with some of the stuff.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Amber is the one, I'd be texting her, what's going on with Etsy, and just do this, this, and this, and it'll help build you up. Amber owns Blaze Candle Company, so
So she, I think, and she was on a few weeks back.
Mhm.
That's kind of how she started her business, right?
Right.
Through COVID,
mhm,
started on Etsy, so she's been helping you out. Sounds like.
right.
Yeah, what's the one piece of advice that stands out that she's, given or advised? Anything stand out?
To not make drastic changes on Etsy. It has a very strange, that's what I'm looking for, like algorithm.
Mhm.
So if you change your marketing, let's just say from $2 to $5 a day, it could kick you down to the bottom of the site. So don't make drastic changes. Maybe change it by 50 cents or $1, and don't do it very often because it'll mess with where you get put in the system.
Okay. So when you say don't change the price of like an actual item,
So
or
you
like what do
have-
you mean?
they've got settings where you pay for a certain amount of marketing per day. So anywhere from 50 cents to $100 you can advertise, and they'll put it on Google. It'll be like the top of the articles. And so if you change it, like in the very beginning, we were only doing $1 a day because we didn't have any profit from it. So we switched it from 1 to 5, and we had no sales for like 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
So we went back down and changed it to like 250, and then we started getting sales again.
And then so if you're gonna make changes like that, you have to go up.
Do gradual.
Okay. So at the end of the day, right? I mean, this is a side hustle, right? You're trying to be able to, make ends meet. For those that don't know, the number of home sales out in the market right now has come to a screeching halt with rates in the 6s and 7s. So there's a pretty substantial gridlock where a lot of sellers aren't coming down on prices and aren't accepting some lower bids because a lot of people have rates in the 2s and 3s, and so if they don't get the price they want, they just keep it on the market. Or if they don't get what they want, then they just take it off. So I've had a number of conversations about that specifically. So for us, we've been pretty fortunate to be able to, keep pushing and working hard and doing all the little things it takes to be able to make ends meet, so to speak, for the most part. So when you look at this type of an industry, you've been doing this for 4 months now,
Roughly.
3 or 4 months, and continuing to grow and build, and what's the next step? What's the next kind of example where you want to be able to get to by what time frame in terms of just sales?
Well, with the holidays coming around, we're hoping it really pops off. But I mean, if we can average $2,500 a month in sales, that would be excellent.
Okay.
That would be huge.
Okay. So you may want to provide this info and intel, or you may not. But what type of profit margins are the average in this type of process or business?
Like my markup.
Whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Uh,
Well, you're putting a lot of work into it,
we are
right?
putting a lot of work into it.
So yeah, I mean,
A lot of work. I mean,
you can. How about we just do a range? It's a range.
so our highest profit margin has come from, it was 100% profit margin because it was a free item. It was something that we had at our house. But I mean, typically it's 40 to 60% markup of what we buy it from. And
So,
that's not always. Sometimes we buy something in haste, not, and don't research it, and then we get home and it's worth what we paid for. So, but on average, 40 to 60.
so how much scalability does this type of a thing scale out to be in terms of being able to do more? Because you're trying to locate items, right? So there's only so much you can do in terms of only so much in terms of time you have to be able to find something. There's only so much stuff out there. So what kind of scalability have you seen people do this type of
Don't know if I can answer that.
thing? So just keep
Just
keep
keep
going
going.
and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, even when we go on vacation, we went to Maine. We drove up there. We stopped at thrift stores, estate sales the whole time, and technically, yeah, we could write it off. It's a work trip.
Right. Right. What is Gary Vaynerchuk? What is he out there doing? He goes to estate sales, or doesn't he?
I don't know who Gary is.
Okay. Yeah, he's a social media guy. He's out there trying to find stuff, and he's got a huge following. But for going back to say Amber, right? So, and you may or may not know this, but for her, and she was selling a very specific product,
Right.
right? Do you see something like that around the corner where maybe
Probably.
build a following, maybe, and maybe sell something specific, or repeat clients, or
Yeah, a few repeats. You know, they'll order one thing small just to see if it arrives and it's as described, and they'll come back and buy the rest of the lot. But I don't see us going to anything like she did. I don't really have a creative bone in my body when it comes to that kind of stuff, but it's most likely just going to be random stuff that we find and buy.
okay. So when you can start marking up everything on like 99%, then you can make a career.
Right.
Um,
Unfortunately, I'll be around here much longer.
so this whole online world, right? I mean, is there anybody else in your world that's doing something similar, selling something online? Facebook Marketplace has something out there. Do you guys do Facebook Marketplace?
We did a little bit in the beginning, but it just, people are crazy on Facebook.
Because then you have to like drop the goods off.
Right, they want to come to your house or meet up, whereas I could just pop it in the post office.
Ship it. Okay. What's the most bizarre thing that somebody purchased?
Gosh, a lot of weirds. Probably the golden clothespins. Like, but I mean, I have 2 corn shakers, salt and pepper shakers. People buy the weirdest stuff. Gosh, I should have grabbed my phone so I could pull up some of the things. We get a lot of weird messages too, just from the most bizarre people, and I'm trying to decipher what they're saying because it doesn't make sense.
Oh, like some of my text messages.
Yeah, I was like, I'm actually really good at reading these.
Sitting and touch. I don't like, I need buttons. I need like big fat buttons. Is there anything like, okay, so you know, you go through an average work day, which in our industry is stressful.
Right.
So how many hours? So your husband, he's with the yeah, how many kids?
4,
4 kids. And what are the ages again?
10, 6, 2, and 9 months.
9 months. Okay. So as a mom, get your hands full.
Considerably.
Literally. Literally. How much time are you dedicating to this inside?
So he does most of the shopping online. Occasionally we'll go on the weekends to an estate sale or something. I would say the biggest time is when, like today, we've had 4 orders and we're hoping for at least 2 or 3 more. And our items a lot of times are breakable. So packaging them up at night, doing the shipping labels, we put all the kids to bed and I'm spending an hour to 2 hours helping him do that before I even have any downtime. So 2 to 3 hours a day.
And then you get a contract at like 9 o'clock at night. That's
Yeah.
your radar.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's always something, but
Yeah. You know, and one of the things we talk about on this channel is, you know, when your why is strong enough, you know, the how figures itself out. But on the flip side of that, you know, if you're grinding, you know, and Tim Grover in the book Winning talks about you're grinding, you know, over time, what are you left with? You're left with dust. So when you work hard and you're busting your tail, spending a lot of energy on something, it's important to be able to take time along the way in the journey to be able to realize that you're forming something. So when you're doing this, right? Like, what is it? What does this whole thing mean to you in the family?
So my husband and I have been together married for 12 years, and the entire time he's always worked second or third shift. So I've always had the kids in the morning, or I'm sorry, and basically it was just me. And when we found out we were having our fourth kid, we wanted him to be around. And so we just had to make the choice to choose family over money. And it's to keep him home, to keep us going, period. Maybe emotional.
That wasn't the intent, but no, but that's the thing is that, you know, this channel, I mean, it's all about, hey, you know, what does the everyday person try to do to be able to get ahead and find some stability or balance and get ahead and with cost of living, you know, being so high, yeah, it's hard for so many people to be able to get ahead. And it seems like the people that are getting ahead have to find something creative to do to try to be able to generate extra income. Especially you want to be able to get it and save money and then potentially, let alone invest in something, whether real estate or crypto or NFTs or business or whatever. And so, you know, spending energy on something, it's important to know what you're creating and forming, because those are the things that carry you when it's 9 o'clock at night and you're exhausted and, you know, you got this thing, you know, that you need to get done for the business, right? So something's got to be carrying you. So is there anything else any other advice that you would give to somebody out there? Was this thing or any other thing that somebody's trying to be able to do to be able to build a business in this life?
I would say just find something that I don't think you can do anything on the side that you don't also enjoy, because work is already a lot. So find something that you enjoy doing as well, something that you're good at, and it makes it a lot easier to push through when you're absolutely exhausted, because it's exciting.
So in a year from now, what would be an ideal scenario for this journey with the Etsy stuff? What would be an example of where you would love to be able to do?
I would love to not have a buildup of items. We probably have at least 500 items still to post. It just takes so much time. Love to be completely caught up, so when we buy stuff, we can get posted immediately and we can put it away, so our house isn't overtaken. As far as financially, I would love to have, you know, 25,000 a year in sales, which I think is doable. 2,000, 2,500. Yeah.
Okay. So if there is a listener out there that's, you know, a few steps ahead on this type of journey that has any advice to give, any tips to give to be able to push it through and accelerate the process, we're always all ears. You can follow us on Instagram, strive25_, and feel free to message us and we can pass it on to Stephanie Gastler, who I have her on speed dial, unfortunately for her. But yeah, I mean, that's what this is all about: sharing stories, sharing ideas, sharing tips and tricks to lift each other up. And so if you know somebody out there that has interest in this type of stuff and needs help, you know, send them over here. We have some stories here. If you have a story or an example or know somebody that wants to share a story like this in this world, we're always all ears and want to, you know, get as much input as possible. And if you have any tips or advice or other things you want to hear, please message us. And again, thank you so much for having me on today, Steph. And,
Thanks.
We'll have to have you on again at the next milestone.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.